Hello, STANAG experts. My name is Małgorzata Mazurek, and this is the third video of the STANAG Expert video training series. Today, I wanted to talk to you about 5 ways to make your English natural. Let's begin. So, what is a natural language like? So, what do I mean when I talk about natural language? This is the language that is used in real life. This is the language that is not rehearsed, not learned by heart, not prepared especially for the exam. A natural language is usually idiomatic and metaphoric. This is a characteristic of real language used by native speakers, and this is the language that sounds natural. Just pay attention to the way you speak in your native language, and you will see that you do use a lot of idioms and metaphors, and it's modern language, so it's language that you can meet in films, series, social media. It doesn't have to be a language that is maybe common or simplistic, but it should be a language that is used by real people. Okay, so what is way number one? Way number one is to real English. So to be able to use real English, you have to have some resources. You have to have a pool of vocabulary and expressions of language, idioms and metaphors that you can take from when you want to use it. So how to pull these words, these expressions? So what I suggest doing is just watching series and serials or anything for that matter with a lot of dialogues in it, where people really talk. And the same is true about listening to podcasts. If you listen to podcasts, it's usually people speaking in a natural way. And very often podcasts also contain interviews, and watching or listening to interviews is also a very good idea, because this is where people interact, ask and answer questions, and use all those functions that are natural in real life conversations. Also, if you prefer reading, for example, reading to discussions in English-speaking social media, comments in forums might also be a good idea, right? The idea number 2 that might help you in learning, in making your English more natural, is actually avoiding to learn long chunks of statements by heart. Learning long chunks of language by heart may be stressful, because it can make you want to use what you have learned, and you may focus on trying to use this part of speech that you have mastered, learned, and it can be both stressful and blocking. And additionally, it can make you want to change the topic, or you can try to change the topic unconsciously, even just to turn into the side where you could use the parts of text that you have learned by heart. So, and generally, reciting monologues that have been learned and practiced sounds artificial, and it is noticeable in an exam conversation. Okay. Way number 3 is learning collocation, idioms and metaphors, in contrast to learning words as separate items in lists, sometimes with translations. So obviously you can learn words if you learn them by heart from a list, but I think it would be much more effective if you learned collocations, idioms and metaphors in context. So anytime you learn a new word, you want to remember a new word, you want to record or write down a new word, do it in a context, do it in a concrete context. So instead of learning separate items in lists, learn idioms, metaphors, expressions and collocations from real contexts, such as, for example, when you are watching films, series, listening to things, reading things. This is the real context in which the vocabulary may appear. Also, don't forget about collocations. What is a collocation? Well, as you can see in the definition here, it's a partly or fully fixed expression which has been established in use by native speakers who used it repeatedly in context. A good example here would be fast food or crystal clear. And because they have evolved in real life use, collocations sound natural and simply right. So I wanted to show you some excerpts from a collocations dictionary that I use, and you have the address here. It's called osdic.com, and as you can see, what a collocations dictionary gives you is what verbs, nouns, adjectives go naturally with a given word. So for example, here I chose the word car, and in the first example you can see the nouns collocating with the noun car. For example, car boot, a car door, a car engine, and some phrases used with noun phrases used with the noun car. The same is true for the verbs. You can go, travel by car, drive a car, have a car, own a car, take the car, etc. You have the list of adjectives as well. So this is where you can check what naturally collocates with the word that you are planning to use. And this is a good idea also to record collocations of new words wherever you want to write them down. Okay, the way number 4 is listen and respond. So this is also a natural element of a natural conversation, which during the exam may be easily forgotten because of stress. So don't forget to listen to what the second person is saying and then react to it accordingly. So conversation is about exchanging ideas. So make sure you have the chance to exchange ideas with your colleague during the exam or with the examiner, depending on the exam format. Also, refer directly to what people say. Sometimes when stressed during the exam, you may be tempted to say something, I agree with you, and then change the topic. So it is a good practice and a good idea to refer directly and say what you agree about directly or what you don't agree about. And then it's also a very good idea to say why, justify your agreement or disagreement. So it all boils down to interaction, and I will tell you about interaction more in the next slide, which is about interacting. Way number 5 is interact. So how do you interact? How do you make a natural conversation? Show interest and surprise. So when somebody tells you something, show your reaction. If it's interest, show interest. If it's surprise, show surprise. Agree and disagree in a natural way, and referring directly to what you agree or disagree with, also with the justification that I have mentioned before. Ask questions, obviously, to develop the topic, develop the conversation further, and be polite. Don't forget about all those forms that make your conversation nicer and more polite. So if you like this content and you would like to practice more of speaking and also writing with me, I would like to invite you to take part in one of my courses. If you are interested in details and in the offer of the courses online that I would like to invite you to, just tap on the courses tab on my website, www.stanagexpert.com, and I hope to see you there. Good luck with your exams, STANAG experts.